The Ray Guy Awards are later today, and it's featuring probably some of the best punters the nation has ever seen at the collegiate level. Aside from just the three guys that we're going to be representing today, we're really having an unprecedentedly good year for punting. So really, it's just lit all around. But the three men in question today is Araiza, Korsak, and Stout. And essentially, I know who's going to win and why, and I'm going to tell you. I'm so confident in my answer, in fact, that I'm going to even mark this as a spoiler. So if you don't want to know who will win tonight, just stop the video right here and circle back around it later, so that way you can see that I was right all along. So first, let's go through the two I don't think will win. First, when I watched Korsak's film, honestly, I was really impressed. Did parts of his punting seem really gimmicky, like he was getting some lucky bounces and just playing keep away from the returner? Yeah, just a bit, but he still had a game plan and he executed it almost perfectly for the most part. I think why he won't win is he just left a lot of yards on the table. A lot of people will praise him for forcing fair catches and allowing for very few returns and no touchbacks, but really the no touchback thing speaks more to his lack of opportunity to make a mistake. Aside from the fact that I feel like some of his punts did come down with a good bit of luck or had some good coverage to keep them from being touchbacks, a lot of the time he just kicked it from backed up, and I think for the most part he could have done a better job flipping the field in that way. Ultimately, this shows in the fact that only 19 of his 70 punts went for 50 or more yards. Second, and to everyone's surprise, I don't think Araiza will win, and much of it does come down to that last game he just had. I, more than anyone, have been on the Araiza bandwagon and have loved watching him punt from game to game, but the truth is, much of his punts are just straight piss missiles down the middle of the field, and he bails himself out by going down there and making a tackle. Now, while I think it's great being an athlete like that, unfortunately, it means that aside from leading the nation in punting average, he's 9th in the nation in net punt thanks to 15 touchbacks and almost 300 return yards. He's almost a perfect foil to Adam Korsak in that sense, but what really drove it home for me was his game against Utah State. I don't really know if they'll take this game into account, but if they do, it's pretty damning for him, as some of his minor issues just really came to fruition as two punts got blocked, and you could argue both of them had to do with Araiza just overstriding with his steps and getting a little bit too far in front of where he needed to be as he started catching that snap. While this hasn't really been a problem before this game, I had watched many punts with just a ton of anxiety watching him get way too close to his shield, and I always wondered if it would cause a problem. What I think it says most about his game plan is that he's just a little bit less disciplined of a punter, and I think it comes down to the fact that he just hasn't been punting as long as the other two guys. So that leaves us with who will win the award, and it has to go to the one and only Jordan Stout. To me, it just seems like a slam dunk no-brainer. He combines the great control that Korsak has with all the power of Araiza, and what it leads to is just game after game of beautiful punting. He's only sitting 0.3 of a yard behind Korsak's net average and is 10th in the nation in gross average. Meanwhile, he's only had 3 touchbacks on 62 punts, which all came in the first 2 games, one of them still netting him 56 yards of punting on a 76-yard touchback. To complement his wonderful ability to hit a spiral, he also has the ability to complete a trick play against Michigan, giving them an edge early, which makes him the only one of the 3 to successfully complete a trick play this season. And while net isn't everything, it's also noteworthy to mention the fact that Stout's more traditional punting style has created 10 less return yards than Korsak, which to me is very impressive to see because Stout didn't give his coverage unit that much artificial hang time by running around in the pocket to kick it off like Korsak does. This means that he's forcing fair catches with pure hang time and good direction. And to go with this, across his 62 punts, 25 of them were for 50 or more yards. And while that might not have the flair to it as Araiza's 39 punts of 50 or more yards, Stout had his weather conditions going much further and much harder against him than Araiza did, because San Diego is a much nicer place to play than Pennsylvania. So all in all, between the 3 punters presented, to us, the Ray Guy Award is probably more than likely going to the perfect Goldilocks between the two, combining power and explosive plays with crazy discipline. If you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and I guess we will see later today why I am the supreme voice of reason in the punting community. As always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and peace.
Past him, and it's tapped down at the 1 yard line.